I'm Marcy Miller. I'm the owner of Organic Sandwich Company. We've got a store in Boulder, Colorado, and Louisville, Colorado. So I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family on both sides, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, and so I always knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I was living in Chicago. I had just finished business school. My sister had just finished culinary school, and we'd have kind of ideation parties. What can we do? What should we do? And several ideas formed over glasses of wine and hanging out at night. And Organic Sandwich Company was one that we kind of kept coming back to. And eventually we're like, let's kind of create a menu, start on a business plan, look at financials, and see if this is viable. And we were very adamant that the food had to be good, clean food. And back then, this was in 2004, many moons ago, it was not as readily available and it wasn't as affordable as it is today. And so after looking at the financials, we kind of just scrapped the plan, thinking we would be working way too hard for possibly not even turning a profit. So shelved the plan. Fast forward another 10 years, moving to Boulder, and quitting my job in the private wealth management world and knowing I wanted to get into the entrepreneurial world, kind of dusted off that business plan and would go to Trident bookstore, get myself a big latte and kind of work on that business plan and do some research. I met with anyone that would let me buy them a cup of coffee and ask about the entrepreneurial world in Boulder, the food world, the restaurant world, and so many people kind of tried to dissuade me, to be honest. They were like, do you even know anything about the restaurant world? Do you know the success rate? You're likely going to fail. And I knew all that. I'm like, yes, I know that. I mean, the statistics are stacked against me, but I would rather try for my dream and fail than never have tried at all. I say that all the time. I don't want to look back on my life and have these regrets. I'd rather say, okay, I gave it my best shot. You always have doubts. Like launching into your entrepreneurial dream is nothing short of extremely scary because you put all this effort and time and money into pursuing something that you don't know is going to succeed or not. And so I sat down, I had tasting parties for different sandwich ideas. Created different spreads. Jardinara I knew was going to be kind of a feature coming from Chicago. It's pretty popular there. A super spicy chopped vegetable, not really relish, but spread, I guess, that elevates anything you put it on, in my opinion. And so I created a menu having these little parties, got a commissary, and created all the ingredients. So in looking for space for a shop, I decided to apply to the farmers market, knowing it was pretty competitive, but figured why not. And luckily, I got into the food court, and so I sold my very first sandwich in April of 2014 at the Boulder Farmers Market. And then the first day of the farmers market, you have to start, before the crack of dawn. And had a team that helped me, and you get everything. And I was running around the farmers market because I was using ingredients from the market in our sandwiches. And the market, they ring the bell at 8 a.m. and it's like, okay, is anyone going to buy our sandwiches? And luckily people did, and then they were, gave us feedback. They were happy. They came back week after week, and it was, nothing short of, a miracle and extremely satisfying, and makes you feel very proud that people want to buy your food. And that was kind of the start of Organic Sandwich Company. People who work and run the farmers market want to educate consumers, because people will come in and pick up a tomato or a bag of potatoes or whatever and say, this is so expensive. Well, it's expensive for a reason. If you've never worked in a garden or a field for the day, it is backbreaking work. And so getting over the fact that yes, your food is going to be a lot more expensive than any of your competitors is just something that I know and I've built into the plan. And I account for that. So we pay a premium when we buy stuff from our local farmers because it's important to me, and we need to support our local farmers. And I've always been, of the idea that farm to table doesn't have to be fancy fine dining food. It can be made into a sandwich, and it should be. Well, after having kids and really paying attention to the food system and the ingredients that go into our food, it really has shocked me every time I would go to the grocery store and look at ingredients on kind of anything. And I'm like, we've got to be able to buy cleaner food for my family. I should be able to go out and not have to spend a small fortune to have a dinner for four, but it wasn't a possibility. I mean, we would take our two little kids, they're boys, they're 2 years apart, and they're monkeys, and we'd try to have a nice meal, and they're, we're just trying to get them to sit down and eat ourselves and shove their food in their mouth, and then, not disturb all the other diners, and then, however many hundreds of dollars later, I don't know, we're in and out in like a half hour, and it was like, was that worth it? No. So I guess my thought is, why not be able to bring a concept like that to something more affordable, have it, open to everyone, while still supporting local farmers and entrepreneurs and offering good, clean food. Because we, as a society, don't eat all that well. It's easier and cheaper to eat unhealthy food, unfortunately. And, if we can just at least educate some folks on the importance of eating cleaner food, eating your vegetables. I mean, it's not easy to get all your vegetables, but you come here, you get any of our soups, you're getting, 2 to 7 vegetables in one serving, which is amazing. And, it's not we're not gonna reform every single person that walks in the store, but if we can at least provide an opportunity for people to eat clean, healthy food, once a week, hopefully more often, then I feel like we've accomplished something. COVID was a really scary, dark time, and no one knew what was going to happen. And I feel very fortunate, proud, all the things to still be here after COVID, both shops. Additionally, right after COVID, there was the Marshall Fire in Louisville. Our parking lot was on fire. Luckily, our building didn't burn down, but we had smoke damage and we had to close for quite a time there. And that was very tricky and scary as well. We survived that. Just being able to survive and adapt, I feel really lucky to be here. It's not easy to run a restaurant, as most people know, and to have all those things thrown at you and to be able to kind of dodge and figure out a way to make it all happen is something I feel proud of. I feel, again, lucky. Fortunate, all those things, to just still be here, and hopefully we'll continue to be here, for years to come.